Wakey, wakey.
Hey, Fleck, you got a joke for us today?
We use music to make us whole, to balance the fractures within ourselves.
I'm nobody. I haven't done anything with my life like you have. Let's get out of here.
What the world needs now is a love, sweet love. It's the only thing that there's just to live love. What the world needs now is love, sweet love.
Tell us, what's changed, Arthur?
I'll tell you what's changed. I'm not alone anymore. That's what we should be talking about.
I want to see the real you.
And what is up, you guys? I think that I'm going to continue to play that trailer until the movie comes out, because that is, as of right now, that is my most hyped and more anticipated project for this year. But welcome back. It's good to see you guys again. Welcome to the After Hours podcast. Probably going to be like 30 or 40 minutes on here tonight, because there's so much to catch up on and not quite enough time. Not only that, but you know how it is, raising a family, 3 boys, busy, hectic, and sometimes, you know, you have to get it in where you can. But welcome back to After Hours. Hope you guys are doing good. I hope everyone on X can see me. Shout out to my peeps on YouTube and Facebook as well. Shout out to all you guys. Instagram, I will get you guys on the next one, but I'm trying to work back into a steady schedule. But man, what a crazy time that we're in right now. And I'm joined by the boy, of course, the OG. Gotta have the OG.
What up,
What is up, dog?
Brian?
What's up? How you doing?
Not much. Just got off work. Tired as heck, but I'm about to push through this podcast.
I feel you, bro. I already feel you. I know you're wore out.
Oh yeah. So we got some MCU and Acolyte talk.
Yeah, pretty much, man, because I mean, it's not surprising talk. You know what I'm saying? It's not really some people are upset. There's a petition. Let's just hop. First of all, welcome back. Welcome back. I know it's been a while since we've been on one, but it's been busy. So both of us have been very busy, but we're back now. And first, let's just start off with the obvious, because right after our last podcast, it seems like the MCU has taken its trajectory from where it was and just went right back to the top. I'm talking about Talk in the Streets hasn't been this high since Infinity War and Endgame, respectively. I'm talking about even the guys at work, my coworkers are talking about it. They're like, bro, did you see the news? Robert Downey Jr. is coming back. He's going to play Doctor Doom. Have you seen all these new, you know what I'm saying? There's a atmosphere for the MCU that I have not felt in a long time. And so I'm excited about it. I'm super excited about it. I'm hyped. I'm hyped, bro.
Oh yeah, me as well. Hold on 1 second. I'm gonna go ahead and kill that. I don't know why it did that. I had my mic turned down so we wouldn't have that echo, but as soon as I logged in, it
Gotcha.
on its own. Weird. But anyways, yeah, what we've talked about the MCU the last few times is it's been kind of. I don't want to say it ever got to a point of. I don't want to say it fell off, because to imply that it fell off, that would mean it wasn't popular anymore. The MCU was always popular, but I did say several times on this show that I thought the days of the MCU making $2 billion at the box office was over.
Yeah.
I'm going to retract that for two reasons. One, and this is actually the more important one, the Russo brothers. Their return, I mean, they are the just greatest when it comes to making these blockbuster films. They can't miss. When it comes to the MCU, I think the Russo brothers are the absolute gold standard. I couldn't even tell you who second place is, but you look at I think literally all of my favorite MCU movies, except for Black Panther and No Way Home, were directed by the Russo brothers. Because I'm thinking Infinity War, I'm thinking Endgame, I'm thinking Civil War, I'm thinking Winter Soldier. I mean, they just have this style that just works perfectly. Their fight scenes are the best choreographed fight scenes of any director I can think of today. I can't think of any. I mean, seriously, like what director today can put out like you think about the fight scenes. You got the Winter Soldier versus Captain America and Winter Soldier. You've got the Civil War fight scene at the airport and at the end. You've got Infinity War, endless fights, Endgame, endless fights. And they're all unbelievable. But more than that, Eric, and this is where I think the Russo brothers really knock it out of the park. They have an ability. Oh, my computer fell. They have an ability, namely through storytelling, to make you care about these characters. And that's what another thing that adds to the fight so much. It's like, I know for you personally, one of your favorite fights ever is Anakin versus Obi-Wan in Episode 3, right?
Yeah.
A large reason of that isn't just how cool of a fight it is, but it's also like the amount of emotion you feel watching that because of the story that's led up to this fight. There's that extra element to it. The Russo brothers nail that, because that final fight with Cap and Tony at the end of Civil War, like where Tony point blank tells Cap, "You don't deserve that shield." I was like, "Ooh man, he hurt. He's hurt bad." They can bring that level of emotion. They're just great directors. So them coming back obviously is huge. But secondly, I've been saying I think Marvel needed to have some kind of ace up their sleeve to make the MCU hype again. Because with Kang, that was their biggest issue. Kang was the issue. After Ant-Man and Wasp Quantumania, I think people were left unimpressed by Kang. Now, granted, in the comics, he's a lot more powerful. He's a lot more scary. The movies didn't do him justice, in the words of Stephen A., and we understand that. I mean, every sentence with that guy, he makes a point, and we understand that.
We understand that. Yeah.
We understand.
He's no scrub, make no mistake.
No, he's no scrub. He can play. Kang can play. He's no scrub. But from what we've seen, what I'm saying to you, I'm done.
Hey, I know. Hey, you talking about Killmonger, Thanos, and those boys.
And now we're down to Kang. Kang? Don't come at me with all-time great MCU villain. All-time? He's not Thanos. He's not Thanos. That's blasphemous.
Blasphemous.
Every day with that guy. But anyways, God, where even was I?
Hold that thought. Hold that thought. Hold that thought.
Holding my thought.
All right, sorry, brother. My bad.
Oh, you're good, bro.
Had to do a baby check.
Oh, they all good?
Oh yeah, they're great. Yeah, they're great.
You can just cut that part out, right? All right, sweet. All right, can you still hear me? I can't hear you.
How about now? You hear me now?
Oh, I hear you just fine.
Loud and clear. I'm using my gaming headphones now.
Thank
But yeah.
you. So you can just go back and cut out that whole last part.
Yeah, we're good.
All right, sweet. So let's jump back in. So to continue what I was saying, Kang just wasn't bringing that level of excitement that Thanos brought, or like even Killmonger.
Right.
And Thanos was a huge part of what made Phase 3 so huge. We were wanting to see Thanos. There was a lot of hype around him, and he delivered. And Kang just wasn't giving us that. Heck, he wasn't even giving us Ultron or Loki level hype, right? And that's a problem.
That is an issue.
But then, Jonathan Majors had some issues. We won't get into them. And he gets fired. So the MCU now had a chance to either continue with the villain, do a recast, or now you can do a new villain altogether. They chose the latter. Doctor Doom, well-known MCU villain, very popular, very famous. Who do you cast to play him? Why, the person that's already the face of your franchise. In one of the craziest moves I think I've ever seen. So RDJ coming back, along with the Russo brothers, I think has given the MCU a new level of hype.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with that. I think that, what it all comes down to is listening to the fans. And really, no one in the past 2 decades, Evan, that we've been talking about the MCU has been able to bring that sort of dedication to the fans, especially when it comes to the source material, other than the MCU. And a lot of people question, well, hey, why didn't they do this and that? And sometimes we've seen those examples happen where things that come from comics don't always work that well in the movies, so they have to try something different. Sometimes most times it does, but there are times where it doesn't, and that's fine. But when it comes to listening to your fan base, that's something the MCU's never had a problem with, knowing what the fans want. So for me, now everyone I knew out the gate, because everyone on the internet thinks that they know better. They're like, oh, well, I already saw the comments. Why didn't they cast, some, a Romanian actor? Why didn't they cast whoever? You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, bro, Look, if you any other example of this, probably yeah, I would question it too. But for them to go back to the main man who they started this with should not be a problem. Because the last time they tried to start out with a new villain, you mentioned Kang, not only was Quantumania just not that good of a movie, it the issues that went on with Jonathan Majors just sort of derailed that whole thing and took the air out of whatever they were going to do. And so now they're going to erase all that. So Doctor Doom, perfect choice. You got the Fantastic Four coming in. Galactus is going to be the villain. And so even by comparison, the old Fantastic Four movies were pretty great. They're still fun and they're enjoyable, but listening to the fans always gets you a win, and no one who is going to complain about Robert Downey Jr. Who? Not me. I'm not. I think he's the perfect choice. If people want to argue about the comics, yes, there is a variant of Doctor Doom in the Marvel comics that turned into Doctor Doom. So that is an approach that could definitely work. I don't see why not. Who better than Robert Downey Jr.? It had the streets talking. It had everybody at work talking. I'm like, oh my gosh, it was already on the news. That was the first. Get my morning coffee, sit down and get ready to watch the news in the morning. Boom, there you go. It's all over the news. I'm like, when was the last time the MCU was in mainstream media like this? Been a while, hasn't it? Been a while. But now they're back. And so it's incredible. Kevin Feige has cleaned house. There was also that report that came out. They've cleared house up there at Marvel Studios of all of that, whatever went down with the She-Hulk TV show and all this other stuff that he's getting back on track, lining it back up. We're not doing the politics. We're not getting into all of that. We're strictly focused on just making good product, because all the Phase 4 films and TV shows that had something to say, they flopped. Quantumania wanted to get political, flopped. You know what I'm saying? Wakanda Forever was pretty good to me, so I didn't really that was of no consequence. No Way Home did not focus on politics. It was awesome. Multiverse of Madness underperformed because they had to get their little message in there somewhere, and they did that. So here we are again, starting it over. Kevin Feige's like, we're gonna do this thing right, and so for me, I think it's a brilliant move. And then you add to that, and I know you haven't seen Deadpool and Wolverine, so I'm not gonna say anything other.
I'm going on Tuesday.
Good, and we will be right back here to discuss it.
There's a coworker of mine and I that are talking about going.
Yeah, you're gonna enjoy it, and you're gonna beg to get back on this podcast as soon as you see it, because you're gonna have so much to talk about. So all I can say is that Deadpool and Wolverine is a test run of what is to come with with this next phase. And judging by what goes down in that movie, bro, I'd say it's gonna work out just fine. So the MCU is already back on track, and that's all I got to say about that. Wonderful.
You know what the MCU is like at this point?
What's that?
The MCU reminds me of Nick Saban from, we'll say 2008 to, no, we'll say 2009 to 2020. So that's an 11-year period in which he won 6 national titles. One thing that he got consistent praise over was his ability to switch up but keep winning. Like he wasn't known for just one thing. Like he wasn't. Like, he started off a defensive mastermind, but then in 2013, his defense got exposed because the game started changing. Right.
Yeah.
And the Kick 6 happened. So what does he do? He brings in Lane Kiffin. Lane Kiffin changes things up, and so Saban adapts. And then in 15, he wins another title. 17, another one. 20, he brings in Sark, another one. My point in bringing this up is, you look at what the MCU's been able to do with, you can start out with the just, good acting in a stereotypical superhero movie. You start there, it works. And then as it moves on, you move on to more intense movies like Civil War, Winter Soldier, and then you move on to an Infinity War, And then along the way, you have films like Guardians of the Galaxy that are just goofy but, fun to watch, right? But they're still really good. My point is, they're able to switch up, plug new things in, try new things out, switch up the tone a little bit, and it just works.
It works.
It just almost always works. And to your point about the woke agenda, I don't want to spend much time on it.
Mm.
That's been a little bit of an issue for them, but I will say they haven't really made it. Now, granted, I never watched Eternals, and I don't really plan on it because just
that film will not be capitalized on in the future. It flopped.
Yeah, and I heard it was not good, but see, I don't know anything about the Eternals, so I was like, in order for me to watch it, I would have had to have heard that it was great. You know what I mean?
It's one of those unnecessary ones that they just. Yeah.
But I've never seen them get super ultra mega woke like some other companies have. But I think what's really hurt them is when they make movies or projects that people deem unnecessary. I think that's when they really screw up. Because, like you said, okay, with who asked for an Eternals movie? Who asked for a She-Hulk series with Megan Thee Stallion in it? There's examples like that, as opposed to films like Civil War, Infinity War, that feel necessary, or they are necessary.
They are. They're the hallmarks of Marvel. Yeah.
Oh, exactly. But I have to agree with you. I think the MCU is back on the right track. I don't think it was ever totally derailed, but it was it had slowed down some. But, I say slowed down, but you have to understand, it's like I know I already gave one Nick Saban analogy, but I'll just give another. When I say slow down, I mean in the sense of Nick Saban having a bad year at Alabama, which a bad year at Alabama for Nick Saban was what, 2 losses, maybe 3?
10-win season.
Yeah, still a 10-win season, which 80-90% of the college football world would love to have a 10-win season every single year and would never complain about it.
On their worst year, yeah.
Oh, exactly. Even with this rocky phase they've been on, they're still better off than anything Warner Brothers has done with the DC universe. So,
yeah,
I mean
that's non-negotiable, and that's not even a debate at this point. Especially since Deadpool just pulled out yet another billion-dollar movie and highest grossing rated R film, number 1, took it from Joker, Joker. So that's absolutely that's no shade on DC, and because their solo films and their solo work is immaculate when they put it to work. But whatever Marvel can do to give the fans what they want, they will do it. And some of these characters, you can't PG them. Some of these characters are going to take you down this path. Daredevil Born Again is coming out. Daredevil is going to take you down that path. Punisher will take you down that path. That leads to TVMA, rated R. You know what I'm saying? And as long as you're faithful, Deadpool and Wolverine, as long as you're faithful to the essence of those characters and who they are, then fans will come. Rated R MCU projects, sure, bring it on.
Remember the arguments we used to have over that back in the day?
Yeah, we did.
Remember I told you countless times, I said, Eric, look, I know it's Disney. I know it's Mickey Mouse and it's Cinderella and it's The Lion King and all these little kid shows, right? It's Disney World. It's for children. But I told you, I said the one thing Disney cares about more than anything is money. There's nothing in this world they love more than money.
Yeah.
And they know good and well you're not going to dumb Deadpool down for kids and grab a kid audience that's going to make up for the adult audience that you're going to lose.
Yeah.
Like it's Deadpool. He is anyone who knows anything about him knows what kind of character he is.
Right.
And I said Disney's going to keep him that way because they know they can make a lot of money with this if they
Yeah.
keep him that way. And if they put him in the MCU, now he's reaching a larger audience because it's the Marvel Cinematic Universe as opposed to Sony projects that have nothing to do with Marvel, right?
Right.
I lost my train of thought there at the end.
That's a tired brain, I see.
Dude,
I know what
I
that.
had
I
so
know.
many tables tonight. I
I
made
know what
about
that's like.
$170, so I mean, not terrible, but
It's pretty epic.
oh yeah,
That's pretty epic.
I just work all the time, bro. That's my problem.
I'm thinking, I gotta. Ugh. I need another day off. But
We're celebrating going back to work.
yep, already. It's like between your family wanting to spend time with you, and then, but you need more money. It's that sort of ordeal. That's the nature of things. I need money to go to the
That's what
movies.
always motivates me to be nice to customers. Is like, they'll be ticking you off all the time, complaining about some dumb stuff, and I'm just standing there. I'm so
Yep.
sorry. I'm so
Yep.
sorry.
Mhm.
So sorry. And in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, shut up.
Hush, just be quiet. You know.
And then that's when you go to the kitchen and talk trash about them.
Yep. Take it.
These people at table, whatever, are ticking me off.
Yep.
They're horrible. But anyways, back on what I was saying about Disney making rated R films. To make a long story short, or a short story long, as I already talked a lot on this. My whole point is, if Disney knows they'll make money off of it, there's no line they won't cross, and they've proven it with this film, from what I've heard.
Yeah.
And in addition to Deadpool being in it, bringing in Wolverine was a genius move as well.
Genius.
Because
Genius.
Logan is one of the top 10 highest grossing rated R films of all time as well. So you put those two films, those two stars together, lo and behold, you reap the rewards of it. And from what I've understood, heard, it's a great film. I expected nothing less.
I'm still shocked that you haven't been spoiled yet, but crazily enough, there are so many people who haven't seen this
put
film.
Myself in positions to be spoiled.
That's crazy.
And plus, I don't even have much time to look at my phone. I'm always working.
Good. That's good. That's good.
But overall, my thoughts on this, because I have a lot more to say on our next topic, are I'm very impressed that they've kept moving on like this. It's like whenever Mac Jones took over for Tua, it was just, it's like, oh man, Tua's so good and he's leaving us. How are we ever going to have a quarterback to win anything? And then Mac Jones comes up and wins a title. And then it's like Mac Jones leaves, like, oh my God, who's going to replace Mac Jones? And then Bryce comes up and wins the Heisman. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's what we're seeing with the MCU. It's just always, what can they come up with next? Oh my gosh, now it's this. They just can't stop winning.
Yeah.
And I know, folks, I know I keep using football analogies, but Florida State played Georgia Tech today in a classic that I watched, and that's really all I've been talking about today, so you'll have to excuse me.
There's no shame in that. The peeps know college football is always of the utmost importance down here where we from.
State fan today.
Oh man, it's tough. It's tough for them. And look, whereas the MCU can be likened to the Crimson Tide, I can definitely say that DC is to be, and this is the last thing I'll say before we go to our next topic. I think that DC can definitely be likened to Auburn. You can have a wonderful, wonderful miracle start. You may have the 2010 title, where you had Man of Steel or whatever other great DC films you want to name, and then it's drought yet again. And then as soon as we get there, you can peg us up there with the 2013 run, which had some absolute miracles that we just we never saw coming. A couple of handful of films that were great. You talk about Joker, you talk about the Dark Knight trilogy, you talk about ZSJL, Aquaman, and then we Wonder Woman, and then we just go right back to stinking, right after that. So now we're in rebuild mode yet again, starting over from the bottom. Hugh Freeze came in and tried to make it work with the scraps from last year, but we knew that he had to clear some things out in his first year. It's the same thing with Dwayne Johnson trying to come in and pick up scraps and do all this, but really what we needed was a complete teardown. And now we have James Gunn to thank for that. So I think Hugh Freeze is on track this year to bring Auburn into some good football, and I think James Gunn is going to do an amazing job. So I'm over. I'm sort of just, as a DC fan, I'm over the arguing with people, and if you want to go be delusional and think that Zach is going to come back to do DC content, you're crazy, because the only thing he's coming back to do is the 300 series, which should be which is a celebration in itself. So whenever I see these people, talking about, restore, the old DCEU, I'm like, bro, that regime's gone. It's not coming back. And I'm saying this as a hardcore Snyder fan, because I'm the hardest core Snyder fan, but tripping, bro. Like, look at what James Gunn is doing, where it's the equivalency to making good moves in free agency. The only one I'm not really happy about is the booster goal casting, which was a little off to me, but we'll see what comes of it. I'm not worried about that right now. I'm just worried about getting Superman back in the big screen, seeing Batman, Brave and the Bold, and just taking it one step at a time for DC. That's all. Let's put together one season first.
It's so wild that you compared Auburn to DC, because another accurate thing there is, Gus Malzahn was fired from Auburn, and Auburn was like, okay, well, he was the problem, and Warner Brothers tried to make people think Zack Snyder was the problem. So then they took over. Then Harsin comes in, and then it's like, all right, this is the guy. It's a complete disaster once he comes in, just like what happened with Josh Whedon.
Yeah.
And then he gets fired. So then it becomes, okay, James Gunn, and then I got Hugh Freeze doing his own thing. I'm going to say this much. I have more faith that Hugh Freeze can make Auburn an 8-9 win team than I do that James Gunn is going to be in the DCU for more than 3 years.
I mean, that's a tough pill to take, but at the same time, I'm not about. That's why I'm not getting my hopes up. I'm letting James Gunn do his thing, and then we'll see when we get there. We'll just see what happens when we get to that point. We'll just have to see. Don't you? It's like being a Cowboys fan. Don't come out here talking about, this year's finally our year. We're finally gonna get a Super Bowl, just for your first opportunity to be an absolute choke job. So I'm definitely not.
After
I'm
the
not.
butt whooping Dallas suffered last year, they have no room to talk.
No, not a chance.
I mean, they let the Packers come into their house.
Yeah.
And do a number on them.
It was bad. It was
fun
bad.
to watch for me. I am a Packers fan.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
I was watching it at a bar down there that night, and there was full of Cowboy fans, and they were all like this.
They couldn't look, could they? They just couldn't look.
And then I was there for Luke Musgrave being open by a country mile for a touchdown, and then I started standing up on my chair.
Yeah.
There was like one other Packer family there, bro. We were outnumbered like 50-4.
Could have been a nice bar fight.
Oh, I was ready to die for my Packers. You know how I am. I don't play.
Oh yeah.
I love my Packers. All right, but now our next topic. So the Acolyte.
Yeah.
It is a very, very controversial show, but I will say, in the spirit of objectivity, I think more people disliked it than liked it, definitely. I will say, I think people who enjoyed the series are in a minority. Um, and Disney has announced that they're not going to do season 2. The show's canceled.
Yeah.
I'll just say this. I'm not surprised. I'm a little disappointed for one reason. I didn't want to see more with Plagueis. I was very, very hyped to see him. I, as you know, just finished the audio book a few weeks ago. Um, it was pretty decent. I enjoyed definitely a lot of it.
Yeah.
And to see him on the screen was unbelievable. Very hyped. So hopefully one of these directors will pick up a Plagueis show, read the room. That is something people want. Because if
Yeah.
not, I think it's a missed opportunity with Plagueis. But
Yeah.
I get why the show was canceled. This show had problems. I'm not gonna just look at a few fight scenes and say that made the show good overall, because it didn't. It didn't. There were. I will say this: the lady, I always forget her name, that plays May and Osha.
Yeah.
Um, she didn't do a great job. I was not. I was kind of. I didn't
Yeah.
think her act. I found like she was flat when it came to
Flat.
acting. I
Yeah.
wasn't overly.
Amanda something. Yeah.
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 Now Soul, I think, was a cool character. I kind of like his story.
Yeah.
But the Sith was definitely one of the highlights of the show. The fight between him and all the Jedi that he killed was definitely the best part of the series.
Yeah.
But the show had a lot of problems. There was some, um, we'll say, liberal messaging in the movie or the show that rubbed a lot of people the wrong way. Um, I'll ask you, do you, and I'll give my answer to this in a minute. Do you believe the show should have been canceled? And like, are you surprised that it was?
I'm not surprised that it was. I always knew that there was a chance of it being canceled. And this is not me. This is me just being honest. This isn't me being a superly overly nitpicky, Star Wars fan that just sits around on the internet all day like a lot of people do. But this is me being fair. The Acolyte had some high points to it. I think seeing Plagueis was pretty cool, despite where they may have to put that in the Disney timeline. I think that the lightsaber duels, like we talked about, without a shadow of a doubt, amazing. They were pretty cool. They were cool. But the issues that these shows suffered from was just bad pacing. You're talking about being able to read a room. Reading a room requires knowing exactly what the fans want. So you have to kind of dip your toe into the internet. You got to sort of get the temperature of everything and see what everybody's thinking, because that's part of this thing. If you come into Star Wars just thinking, oh, I'm going to do whatever I want to do, forget what the fans say, forget expectations, forget any of that, you end up with a Last Jedi, and then you destroy a trilogy, and then eventually that's how you destroy the foundation of a franchise. But I'm not surprised that it got canceled. Did I want it to get canceled? Not really. I mean, as soon as they saw Plagueis, I'm like, okay, they could go somewhere with this. They could work with this, if they get more better writers in the room and get some people in there that actually love and care about Star Wars. they can do that, you know. And I'm like, there may be a chance, but after those first few episodes, bro, after those first few episodes came out, I knew that it was gonna be a limited time with this show between the witch storyline and then you know, just the whole portraying the Jedi as evil. I already knew that the show was on borrowed time, so I'm not I'm not surprised at all. And for me, I think it was the last it was the last straw for me as it pertained to Disney Star Wars. You know, because I'm tired. I'm tired of it. You know, I'm tired of it now. So even the Skeleton Crew thumbnail came up for the trailer that just dropped for Disney's next Disney Plus show, and I scrolled right past it and didn't give it a second's thought. And I'd never done that before to a Star Wars trailer in my life, but never have I ever just scrolled past it like I did not give a care. And that's how I know that, you know, I'm pretty much over it. Like I don't care for what Disney has to offer coming forward with Star Wars. I don't care for the Rey movie anymore. I don't care for I might check out Mandalorian and Grogu, but as far as this, the Star Wars is in a state of disarray for Disney. Disney Star Wars is in a state of disarray that just cannot be repaired. Like, this is a mess. It's just the whole franchise is a mess right now, and it's sad. It's sad. A lot of the comments that I saw when RDJ was announced to come back was, "Oh, I feel so bad for Star Wars fans because MCU fans have something to celebrate, but Star Wars fans don't." And I'm like, it's true. So, but that's neither here nor there. The Acolyte, just too little, too soon. I don't think Leslie Headland was the right person to make this project, and I definitely don't think anybody read the room. If when you talk about the Acolyte and you say that this is going to focus on, you know, the beginning of the Sith or a Sith apprentice, you know what I'm saying? Most Star Wars fans automatically go to the tragedy of Darth Plagueis and Palpatine. Did anybody think that maybe that's something that they want to see? Did, like, a young Palpatine coming up under Plagueis, making his way through the Senate? And I'm not saying go book for book with the book that you had just read, which I think is a masterpiece if you really want to deep dive into the levels of Star Wars. But I mean, just read the room, man. Like, nobody knows how to read the room. Like, sure, Kenobi wasn't the best show, but hell, people were still excited just to have Hayden back. Ahsoka capitalized on it. That show read the room. They read the freaking room. Brought Hayden Christensen back. Like, why? It's not hard. It's really not. It's, I don't know, man. I'm tired of it, man. I'm burnt. I'm tired of it. So the Acolyte was the last straw for me, and I'm done with it. I'm done with Disney Star Wars. So
I can't blame you for most of that. I mean, I know me personally, I still struggle to trust them over episode 8, namely what they did to Luke Skywalker. I mean, I will, if I live to be 100, I will not like that movie any more than I do now. I mean, that's just that's how it is.
yeah, I've come to terms with it. Yeah,
there's just some things I'm never gonna like. It is what it is.
yeah.
As far as the Acolyte goes, look, I like some parts of the show. For the most part, there was a lot of it I felt I could fast forward. The fights were very well choreographed. It was just the acting and the story overall. It took forever. Like, you had to get to like the last 10 minutes of the final episode to understand how all this tied together. And it's just like,
The pacing was terrible. Yeah,
I know. And sometimes you can do that. Like, sometimes you can stretch out to the end, like, oh, how's this all play out? if you can put some stuff in the middle that makes sense. But this show was just all over the place, and there were a few flashback episodes that just didn't tell us anything we didn't already know, which those were really annoying.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
overall, I'm not surprised the show got canceled. I'm a little
Yeah.
bit disappointed just because I wanted to see more of Plagueis. But I mean, at the end of the day, it is what it is. But now that we've discussed that, in this little time that we do have left, we got about 12 minutes. Okay? We have to talk about it, right? College football's back. The greatest sport in America. Even though the Packers are my favorite team, yes, even more than Alabama, hold all the booze. It is. I was born into the Alabama family. I chose the Packer family. That's just how it is. But I am repping Alabama right now in the coolest shirt ever freaking made.
That's it. That is a cool shirt. That is a cool shirt.
Saban striking the biggie
That is pretty cool.
with natty rings. It's awesome, isn't it? But
Must be nice.
and then Auburn won one 14 years ago. So, maybe in another 14 years, you might win one.
Maybe this year, if God smiles upon the plains.
Look, I'm going to be honest. I might catch some jeers from Bama fans. I think Ohio State is going to win it all this year.
Ryan Day in Ohio State. You talking about Coach Day, who is rumored to be on his last leg if he doesn't beat Michigan this year?
Oh, he'll beat me. I think Michigan's about to have a precipitous drop off.
Yeah.
I think Harbaugh leaving. They lost a lot of guys to the portal and everything else in the world. They lost J.J. McCarthy, and I hope J.J. gets better soon. I really hate what happened to him.
That sucks, man.
It really does. Nobody wants to see that happen to a player, even if it's for a team that you don't pull for. I don't like the Vikings, but I didn't want to see that happen.
Yeah.
I wanted him to suck at the Vikings. Don't get it twisted.
Yeah.
But I didn't want to see him get hurt. I never would.
No, nobody wants to see that for a rookie.
But I mean, Quinshawn Judkins leaving Ole Miss to go to Ohio State. Caleb Downs, the traitor, leaving Alabama to go to Ohio State.
Didn't Bond?
And I'll never forgive you going to Ohio State.
Who else went? Mr. Bond, I think.
He went to Texas.
Even still,
signed an NIL deal with Lamborghini.
That's treacherous right there. Not the Lamborghini deal. No, get your money. But knowing Texas is in the SEC this year.
This man pulled a Kevin Durant.
Hey, man, get that money, man. Get that money.
That hurt. It just really hurt.
Yeah.
But I'll always hold a special place in my heart for Isaiah for what he did in Jordan Hare. I can never hate him after that.
Payne.
Oh, Payne.
It was a good pass. I give credit where credit is due. That was a good pass, good catch. You win some, you lose some. It is what it is. 4th and 31. That's for people who just don't understand. That is the nature of the Iron Bowl. Every year, it could be anybody. It could be anything. It could be anybody's moment. That's just the nature of the Iron Bowl. That's just what it is. That's what this rivalry is. It transcends national titles. What goes down at Bryant-Denny and Jordan Hare on that Saturday of every year is some of the most magical football you'll ever watch in your life. And no rivalry. There's not a rivalry that can compare. I don't care what they say up there in Michigan. I don't care what. Nothing compares to Auburn, Alabama. Nothing.
No.
No, go ahead. I'm sorry.
The one team I wanted to focus on, though, is a team who, in my opinion, their playoff chances are already over, and we're in week 0. We haven't hit the official week 1 yet. We hit week 0, and in my opinion, their playoff chances are effectively done. And that's Mike Norvell and the Florida State Seminoles just absolutely blowing it.
I
Losing
gotta
24 to
I gotta look
20.
at the highlights. I gotta look at the highlights of that game because there's no way.
It was
There's
rough.
there's
It was
no
very
way.
rough to watch.
They said Georgia Tech ran through a mofo's face to describe it in one
And
aspect.
for a Georgia Tech QB, he completed a fair amount of passes.
Against supposedly the toughest ACC school.
I never thought Florida State would be the toughest SEC school. Call me crazy. I think Clemson's going to be better than people think.
Clemson always is down for a fight. Clemson is always going to put up a fight. A great show, too. I've never
Well,
known Clemson to not do that.
Now, having said that, I think Georgia's going to maul them.
Probably. I hope not. I hope Georgia just suffers a catastrophic failure of offense and defense. But, you know.
Georgia Tech in this game ran for 190 yards.
Oof. That's tough.
Their quarterback only passed for 146. But get this, DJ Ongalele. He's been to 3 different colleges at this point. He started at Clemson, then to Oregon State, now Georgia Tech. Or now Florida State.
Yeah.
He had 193 yards and 0 touchdowns. What do I do with that?
What
No
can you do?
touchdowns. None. In a 3-point game, you throw 0 touchdowns.
What do you do with that?
I was stunned at how terrible Florida State's offense was in this game. They had they come out on the first drive, they go right down the field, score a touchdown, and they did something kind of disrespectful that I think may have really pissed off Georgia Tech. They
Which
went
was?
for 2 and got it. On the first drive, they went for 2 and got it.
Was that really necessary to go for 2?
Maybe they were trying to send a message early on. I mean, was it necessary?
They wanted to be
Absolutely not.
disrespectful.
Yeah, and they got it. And then Georgia Tech scored a touchdown. They didn't go for 2.
Yeah.
But then Florida State kicked a field goal, but then Georgia Tech got a touchdown to go up. But then at the half, it was tied 14-14. And then Georgia Tech in the second half could not be stopped running. Oh, and speaking of running, hey, Roydell Williams. How's life as a Seminole, buddy?
Oof. I'm gonna leave that one alone.
I'm not. He left Alabama
to go lose to Georgia Tech. Help him, Jesus. Oh, speaking of that, speaking of transfers, let me just shout out to Bo Nix, who's been named my Broncos starting quarterback. A lot of people thought that, we hated Bo Nix. It was never that. It was him not being the right fit for Auburn in that system, which caused a lot of inconsistencies on our offense that year. We won some games, we were in some games, and then we lost some games. But other than that, he just wasn't the right fit. Shout out to Jarrett Stidham as well, who will probably be our number 2 quarterback. It was a dream for me this year seeing having 2 Auburn men compete for the top spot at the Mile High. So, Bo Nix went to Oregon, did his thing, and then we chose him at number 12. So he's come to save my franchise. And thank God, because at the Christmas party for my job last year, it was painful drinking 3 whiskeys and watching Detroit blow us out the back door. And Sean Payton cussing out Russell Wilson because he couldn't complete a 10-yard pass. So this is absolutely beautiful. I love what I'm seeing from Denver, and I love what I'm seeing from Auburn as far as this camp goes. So hopefully we have a lot of things switched around. Maybe Thorne will be our guy, maybe not. But I'm expecting a full, complete turnaround in the culture at Auburn coming this year.
You know, all I'll say about Thorne is we've seen quarterbacks take massive leaps from year to year to become way better. Like, I think Joe Burrow is a prime example. In 2018, he had like 16 touchdowns, 8 interceptions. And then in 2019, he throws for 6D touchdowns. He went from 16 to 6D touchdowns, and he had like 6 or 7 interceptions.
Yeah.
But now, do I think Peyton Thorne will ever throw close to Burrow numbers? Absolutely not. I don't think anyone will.
No.
But I think he could be better. But based on what I saw last year, I'm not very high on Peyton Thorne.
Yeah, I understand that, man, and that's fair. But hopefully we got something. But I think that's our time, and we still have a lot to catch up on. So tomorrow I'm gonna be back up in this thing because we still have a lot to catch up on.
All right.
But thank you guys for tuning in. Shout out to the X Twitter fam. I'll get you guys on the next stream tonight. I was not able to broadcast to you guys, but I got y'all on tomorrow's stream. And we will catch you guys later. I'm Eric with my co-host Evan Elliott, and you guys have a great Sunday. Peace.